Let's make some waves. Let's think of the possibility of writing with waves, on waves, like waves. This is the direction without the thesis. I'm going to reread and rewrite some texts on water, literary texts that are unaware of their own legal structures. So let's withdraw the waters so that their legal skeletons emerge from within. Poseidon sits at the bottom of the sea and gets on with his calculations. That's all he does. The administration of all the waters was a huge task. Who made him do this? They did. Who are they? History or myth, original fact, a role as deep as the earth's breath, underwater breath. He just knew he had to get on with it. Endless calculations. The thing that most angered him was when he got to hear what people thought it involved. That is, forever parting the waves. And when all the time he was sitting at the bottom of the ocean, open up to his ears, the calculable stops him from diving into the incalculable. He never even gets to see the sea. He's in it. But there is never enough time to see the sea. The calculable is as impermeable as a plastic mantle made of figures and guilt that keeps Poseidon dry. It is a law as deep as the deepest sea that protects Poseidon from life, separating, covering, categorizing, appeasing, protecting, waiting for law to end and for life to start. Poseidon's Messiah is wet and titanic. He was waiting for the world to end first, because there was bound to be a quiet moment just before the end, when he had signed off on his last calculation and would be able to take himself on a little cruise somewhere. Law has convinced us all there will be a last calculation, a last judgment, and then the water will be ours. We're writing. Why else would we bring together law and literature, if not to put together calculables and incalculables, to get a glimpse of the sea, to escape the unidimensional impression of the individual in which the law pushes us? Why else would we read law and literature together, if not to see the law's illusions as more brittle and even more multipliable than those of literature? Why else? Why else? Fetch a barrel of seawater, my mother said, but I got distracted, as I do. The water could wait. This is our home, the home of the river. So I went to the mouth of the river, the place where the kiss with the sea endures. I nestled on a tree branch and fell asleep. The water can wait. The water carries in its belly. The flow of capital doesn't. It appears unexpectedly. The body of a tree of gigantic proportions, hollow to accommodate a vast number of bodies. I saw them, faces in the water, scores upon scores of small dark islands. Some of them saw me, but the faces could not call out, for their mouths were bound. 140 mouths in the first boat, 80 boats in total. 1,000 boats, in past and future, taking bodies to the realms of the living dead, never to return to the land of their birth. I recognized people who had been grabbed as pawns for defaulting on a payment. The slave boat was legitimate punishment for crimes. The boats were kept buoyant by legal tendrils, seaweeds of justice rotting under their bellies, bubbles of lawful putrefaction ushering these bodies into the Black Atlantic. And then I saw the face of the law. Proud, regal, surveying his newly acquired hood. Etterborn, father of the canoes, his new title, never more befitting and tired as both Obong and white man, my father. When our eyes met, I shrieked and fell from the tree and down in the raging water. I was drowning, churned by the water of a law I could not live to bear. Choked by the law of the water, I never wanted to touch my skin anymore. Waves that smirched the black and the white of the law, where these colors were never there to start with. The lines between bodies have always run into each other, turned to the centuries of grief. I spit on your categories and smudged them with my wet hands. Your law is no longer dry. It drips, bleeding. Wave writing. Let's go backwards. I need an Andorian methodology. Sort of a writing that is like waves. The language of wave shape. I need something else to show what a wave shape language might be, something other than language. Music, perhaps? Ehers Haus, der Hausenkavalier. Possibly. One of the dullest ever pieces of music. Well, operas. Yet with 2 or 3 of the most devastatingly beautiful passages. The finale with the 3 sopranos is wave written. Lines from multiple directions, confluence and conflict, constantly postponed gratification, particle explosions of desire at every note. It's kind of wave writing I'm aiming at. Perhaps we should all aim at. Small waves, not showy, corroding, yet inviting. These lines remain together as I have a horizon of movement, but not much else. Manifold, yet streamlined. Our waters kill. Maybe all waters kill. They gorge flesh and spit out appeasement. They swallow sacrifice and vomit future. We need rituals as brutal as the river, as linear as its water flow, as spiraling as its turbulence to neutralize the killing. And so we throw our men into the river and ask them to cross it, to come out the other side. Every year, a man entered the water on the other side, sometimes without a face, because he had been ripped away when the desperate water held him. No one has ever handed us these rituals. No one makes us follow them. We want to follow them. It is our choice, for the sake of the village. These are our norms, wedged between us and the river. These norms are the only thing saving us from the waters. We are one with the river. The fear of water has become one with us. It wakes us up at night and makes us descend into wells. The river kills us, and so we kill ourselves before it does. Across the sound, what would happen if we just stopped those rituals? If we stopped following those rituals? Who said that? Her voice traveled from another book, from the edge of the village, across the surface of the water. It brought the smell of rotting mucus, green smell and green nostrils. She cannot unsay this, we cannot unhear it. It has been written on the surface of the water, under our skins. We all carry the law in our bodies. We breathe our law. And when we choke the law. The river mist permeates our skin, becomes our body fluid. The law of the water is our law. It is us. We become one with the turbulence. Our faces splayed open, sacrificial otherness. Livination, faciality, flayed by the disfingering rocks. The riverbed becomes a field of hands, waving back and forth, cradling the power like scythes. When I was little, my father was a hand behind my head, pushing me forward. Grow up fast, you're a nuisance. When I was growing up, I did not want to be a nuisance. My breath was wrapped in fear, not too loud, not too present, not to me. I lowered myself gently into the water, hardly daring to breathe, always with a fear that as I enter the water world, the air, finally rid of my nuisance, would begin to rage. My father's hand is pushing me forward, or aside, rage. Standing beside the water, my back to everyone, I felt as if I were more insignificant than the thing I was before I was even born. A large hand gave me a shove on the head. The origin of the law is trauma. I would ask you to please touch the water with your fingers. You have a glass of water. I would like you to just touch the end of the water with your fingers, with the end of your fingers. (1953).
We are
La Canal, Niagara Falls, New York. 21,000 tons of toxic industrial waste released. 1956.
We are
Minamata, Japan.
complicit.
Tons of methylmercury wastewater released into Minamata Bay and the Shiranui Sea. 1958.
We are all
Niger Delta oil pollution, ongoing. Estimated 9 to 13 million
we
barrels
are
of oil
all
spilled.
complicit.
1978, Amoko Cadiz,
We are
219,
all
797 tons of light
We
crude
are
oil,
all
and
complicit.
4,000 tons of
We
fuel oil
are
released
all
in coastal
complicit.
rocks. 1964
We
to
are all
1990,
complicit.
Ecuador's Amazon, more than 400 million
We
barrels
are
of toxic oil
all
waste
complicit.
released.
We are all complicit. We are all complicit.
1989,
All
Exxon
complicit.
Valdez oil spill,
We are all complicit.
257,000 barrels released in Prince William Sound.
All complicit.
1998, Guadiamara River,
We are
Spain, in
all
Afnapalai.
complicit. We are all
2005,
complicit.
Yilin chemical
We
plant
are
explosions
all
in
complicit.
China. 100 tons of pollutants containing nitrobenzene and benzene into Shanghua River.
We are all
2010, Deepwater
complicit.
Horizon.
We are
3.19 million barrels of
complicit.
oil released in the Gulf of Mexico.
We are
2020,
we are
Biomara, Romania, cyanide dam spill.
We are all we are
Sending
all
out 100 tons of cyanide
We-
into the Somme,
we-
Tisa, and Danube rivers.
we are
Ongoing.
all complicit.
Yamuna River in India, heavy metals, copper, lead, zinc,
We
nickel released every
are
day.
all
Ongoing,
complicit.
the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Ongoing, coral bleaching. Ongoing,
We are all complicit.
ongoing. Ongoing.
We are all complicit.